My mother-in-law always said I wasn't good enough for her son. I just didn't realize that was because she wanted him to leave me for her own niece, who was already calling him daddy long before I knew they were sleeping together. I'm staring at my husband's phone screen at 2 a.m., watching his 19-year-old cousin send him photos that make my stomach drop to the floor. The timestamp shows they've been doing this for 8 months. 8 months while I've been taking care of our twin toddlers, working double shifts to pay for his mom's medical bills, and wondering why he suddenly couldn't stand to touch me. The worst part? I defended him to everyone. When my sister said he seemed distant, when my friends pointed out he was always helping family instead of being home, when his own mother made those cutting remarks about how I just wasn't the type of woman who could keep a man satisfied. I thought she meant I wasn't domestic enough, wasn't pretty enough, wasn't traditional enough. Turns out she meant I wasn't her blood. Jake and I had been together for 6 years, married for 3. We had a house, a routine, Sunday dinners with his family where his mother would passive-aggressively critique everything from my cooking to my parenting while his cousin Brianna sat there looking like butter wouldn't melt in her mouth. She just graduated high school when we got married. I used to think it was sweet how she'd hug him goodbye and call him Daddy Jake like some inside family joke. I scrolled through months of messages. Her sending him videos of her dancing in lingerie. Him telling her she's everything he's ever wanted. Photos of them together at motels while I thought he was visiting his sick aunt. The same aunt who's been perfectly healthy this whole time, apparently just providing alibis. My hands are shaking as I read him promising her we'll be divorced by Christmas so they can finally be together properly. That he's just waiting for the right time because of the kids. That his mother thinks Brianna would make a much better wife and mother than I ever could. The bedroom door creaks. Jake stands there in his boxers, looking guilty but not surprised. He doesn't even try to grab the phone. "How long have you known?" he asks quietly. "About 5 minutes. My voice sounds dead even to my own ears. "How long have you been planning to leave me for your teenage cousin?" He sits on the edge of the bed like he's the one who needs comfort. "She's not a teenager anymore. And it's not what you think. She's calling you daddy in text messages, John. What exactly am I supposed to think?" He won't look at me. "Mom thinks we rushed into marriage too young. That I never got to explore what I really wanted." The twins are crying in the next room, but neither of us moves. I'm holding his phone with evidence of his affair with his own family member, and he's talking about his mother's opinions on our marriage like this is a reasonable conversation. "Get out," I whisper. "We should talk about this like adults." "Get out." The scream tears out of my throat, waking up half the neighborhood probably. "Take your things and get out of my house." He starts to say something about the kids, about custody, about how this doesn't have to be ugly. But when he sees my face, he stops. He packs a bag in silence while I sit on the bed, still clutching his phone, watching our entire life crumble in real time. The front door closes at 3:17 a.m. By 3:30, I get a text from his mother. "I hope you'll be reasonable about this transition. Brianna is pregnant." The custody hearing was a nightmare I never saw coming. His whole family testified that I was unstable and unfit. His mother, his aunts, even his teenage cousins all lined up to paint me as the crazy ex-wife who couldn't accept that Jake had moved on to someone more suitable. The judge looked disgusted, but not at them. Brianna sat in the gallery with her hand on her barely there bump, wearing a modest dress and a cross necklace, looking like the picture of innocence. She testified that she and Jake had found love after my neglect drove him away. She called my 3-year-olds our babies like she'd raised them from birth. I lost primary custody. Every other weekend and Wednesday dinners. That's what I get for the children I carried, delivered, and raised while their father was grooming his cousin. The lawyer said fighting it would be expensive and probably pointless since John's family had money for better representation. My friends disappeared one by one. Not because they supported him, but because the whole situation was too weird, too messy, too uncomfortable to be around. Who wants to grab drinks with someone whose ex-husband is now married to his 20-year-old cousin who calls him daddy? It sounds like something from a bad movie, and I'm the crazy woman who let it happen. I had to sell the house. Had to move into a 1-bedroom apartment across town. Had to find a new job because working at the family business became impossible once his uncle made it clear I wasn't welcome. I see them sometimes at the grocery store or the park, Jake pushing a stroller with Brianna hanging off his arm, my kids calling her mama be like I'm just some weekend babysitter now. The worst part isn't even losing him. The worst part is watching my babies slowly forget that I used to be the center of their world. They come back from his house talking about how Mama B makes better pancakes, how Mama B's new baby is going to be their real brother or sister, how Daddy and Mama B are taking them to Disney but I'm not invited because there's not enough room. His mother sends me Christmas cards now. Not to be nice, to twist the knife. Photos of Jake, Brianna, my kids, and their new baby, all matching in white outfits, with "Blessed Family" written in gold script. Last year's card had a handwritten note: "You could have been part of this if you just tried harder to make him happy." I tried therapy. I tried dating. I tried pretending that starting over at 29 with weekend custody in a studio apartment was some kind of fresh start. But every time my kids hug Brianna goodbye a little tighter than they hug me, every time Jake looks through me like I'm a stranger at school events, every time his family smirks at me across the soccer field, I remember that I had everything and lost it to a girl who wasn't even old enough to drink legally when she started calling my husband daddy. The thing nobody tells you about this kind of betrayal is that you don't just lose your marriage. You lose your entire reality. Your in-laws, your social circle, your role as the primary parent, your faith that family bonds mean anything at all. You become the bitter ex-wife in someone else's love story, and everyone believes their version because it's easier to swallow than the truth about what really happened. I see other women at the playground sometimes, confident and tired and completely unaware of how fast it could all disappear. I want to shake them and tell them to pay attention, to trust their instincts, to realize that the people who smile in your face can be planning your destruction for months without blinking. But who's going to listen to the woman whose husband left her for his teenage cousin? I'm just another cautionary tale that sounds too crazy to be real until it's happening to you. The cruelest irony is that his mother was right all along. I wasn't good enough for her son. But not because I wasn't pretty enough or domestic enough or submissive enough. I wasn't good enough because I actually expected him to have a moral compass, and apparently that was asking too much.